What's up, YouTube? Hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning. I'm having a pretty good one myself, even though there's a lot on my plate. But I'm here to discuss Justice League because I just saw it last night. I would have loved to do a review last night, but I was pretty tired after seeing it after work, and I just wanted to get some sleep so that I could talk about it in the morning. It's still fresh in my mind, and yes, I will be seeing it again. So the first half of the review, well, the first half, not even say the first half, the first few minutes, I'll just cover a quick spoiler-free version, and then I'll talk about the juicy stuff and more in detail after I cover the spoiler-free version of my review. So let's start with this. Justice League. Overall, did I like the Justice League movie? Yes. I thought it was a very different take. Not a very, I won't say very different, but definitely a lighter tone to the DCEU so far. But to me, that it honestly shares kind of that same thing as that Wonder Woman had to it. Although it's not straight up, excuse me, not straight up Marvel level type of joke upon joke upon joke. But the big reason why I like this movie so much, even if I didn't, well, that's I'll get that more detailed section. But the reason why I like the movie the most, before I get off track here, the biggest reason I liked it because to me it felt just like it felt like a live action adaptation of the Justice League cartoon brought to life. It really did, and that to me was what made it work on so many levels. Uh, Once again, it didn't go super deep into a bunch of political and philosophical uh, underpinnings like the other movies may have so far, although definitely there were some nice character relationships being built in there. So, yes, I'm not going to say it's as deep as the other past DCU movies, of course, barring Suicide Squad, which to me still ranks at the bottom of the DCU. But this movie still had enough action and enough emotion to it to make it a really fun ride, which is honestly what most moviegoers go for these days, anyways, since most of the philosophy and everything else of Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel kind of flew over everyone's head. At least those who don't like them, anyways. People who usually like them tend to enjoy those aspects of them. So, in short, I like the movie. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it about I'd rate it about an 8.5, which basically for me rounds to a 9, because there are a few problems. There are a few problems in it that they weren't major distractions for me, but it did keep from being a complete 10 out of 10. Now, if you're still interested or you want to discuss the movie, now I'm going to be moving to the spoiler section. So, I repeat, this is the spoiler section of the movie. And if you just wanted my general opinions on it, click away now. But this is going to be the spoiler section of the review. So, overall, what did I think of the movie in detail? Well, like I said in the first part of it, I thought it felt like an episode of the original Justice League TV show from years ago brought to life. And like you can tell, that's definitely what they're going for. And I'll say this right now. I guess I'll go over my gripes right now, so we can just focus on the pros of the movie. For starters, it's very fast paced. I'm not gonna say it flies by a mile a minute, but when I first I saw records it was going to be almost 3 hours. I got excited because I thought this would be one hell of an epic ride. And then it came out again. Also, now the movie just got trimmed down to 2 hours. And watching the movie, yes, a lot of stuff that was even in the trailer did not make it to the movie. Noticeable scenes off the top of my head, I can remember. Probably one of the biggest ones, the scene where Alfred is staring at someone you can't see and says, "We knew you'd come back." And every time people were saying maybe Green Lantern, Supergirl, maybe. And even that scene of Bruce Wayne staring at, I'm guessing, a hologram of Superman, remember, with the boots and the cape. Now we know for sure that was definitely Superman. And my analysis of that scene, it was probably Superman finally coming to terms what he needs to do. He probably flew over to Alfred and Bruce Wayne's base, tried to talk to Alfred for just a wee bit, got the heads up of where they were. Alfred probably repaired his suit for him, so that goes unexplained in the movie, and then he goes off to, I believe it was Russia. I think it was around Chernobyl, honestly, like I recall correctly, but I'm pretty sure that was around the Chernobyl area. But in any case, yeah, so a lot of it got cut out, and I'll try and leave a link in the description, but there is already speculation there's obviously a Zack Snyder cut, and that's the thing, you can't really trust the press anymore. I mean, I hate to bring up the whole fake news thing, but there is so much negative publicity about this movie coming out right now. Also, a lot of positive. This thing, I've seen a lot of DCU fans and DC movie fans in general on various social media sites praising the movie, thinking it was really freaking awesome. But there's so much negative press right now, and they're saying almost anything. They're saying it's finished. They're saying the Rotten Tomatoes score just seals the deal. Terrible box office, all this stuff. And you know what? I'm just so sick of fucking hearing this shit. It's just so stupid. To me, Rotten Tomatoes scores, first of all, to me, they never mattered, and they definitely don't matter now. As we see in the past, Rotten Tomatoes scores don't hinder the effects of really any movie. Transformers have been getting those movies I don't actually care for, but that's besides the point. The point of the matter is, to me, whether the movie ranks good with critics or not doesn't really affect the performance. As we've seen, we can see movies like Blade Runner, this 2049, which is a very good film, get excellent reviews, but still make, I think that movie made under $400 million, which is kind of annoying, really. But then again, most people wouldn't know about it, and the first one wasn't that big of a box office hit. And then we see movies, that get trashed by critics, like Transformers Saga, all four of them. Is it four of them or is it five of them? I've lost count by now. But anyways, up until the latest one, Transformers Last Night, almost all of them made $1 billion each until now. But it still was successful, and so on and so forth. So I don't really give a crap about Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm going to get into the problems right now, like I was saying. So yeah, it is fast-paced, and I did sign a petition online just for the hell of it that there should be a Zack Snyder cut, which I think they're going to make. It would be kind of, I want to say awful. I'll say awful if they just put deleted scenes and then integrate it into the whole movie, because I would love to see Zack Snyder's original vision. Because this was definitely chopped down a lot to run very fast. But it still works. But the problem is some characters, namely Aquaman, I think everyone received a decent amount of development. They didn't want to make it into a 3-hour ride movie. Although, honestly, I would have preferred that version. Because to me, that's just my personal taste. I like slower paced movies that take the time to really super build up everything. Which is like Batman vs Superman so much. That was all building up to that final fight. And I loved it for it. And here, everyone gets decent development, with a lot of focus going to Superman, Batman, even Wonder Woman. I mean, basically, the only person who doesn't receive ample development for me is namely Aquaman. We don't know as to right now. I mean, if you know the comics, then yes, you kind of figure out why he's kind of been disowned by the Atlanteans or whatever's going on with him. Namely, it's because he is a half-human Atlantean hybrid. At least by some versions, anyway. So I'm not sure if this one follows that. I'm pretty sure he does, but once again, we're going to have to see. We're not too sure. But, I mean, Aquaman's story, it comes out a little bit, and it's a very funny scene with the lasso of truth. But overall, I think the director's cut probably would pack a lot more in there, and I very much want to see it. I don't care really how long it is I'd watch. Hell, I'm going to buy the crap out of it. So, yeah, very fast-paced, definitely missing a lot of stuff. And I would love to see a director's cut. I'm hoping to freaking Zod that there is a director's cut. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Warner Brothers, DCEU, Legendary, don't let us down. Release it. Release it immediately. My second problem with the movie, Steppenwolf. Okay, now, I hate to do this to Marvel fans, but let's face it. Steppenwolf was, to me, basically a Marvel-level villain. Little to no backstory. Threatening, yes, but underdeveloped. To me, Steppenwolf looked really good. I mean, he looks, to be honest, a lot better than, the original animated DC universe. The cartoon show Superman the Animated Series first appeared. This is a lot more threatening than that guy who wore the green cape thing he had going on. He wasn't really much of a threat. So Steppenwolf definitely looks more like the New 52 version. And I liked how he looked. I liked how he sounded. I like his action scenes were very good. The problem is, and I'm assuming once again that this is because it's a chopped down movie, he doesn't really get developed that much. Now, to me, that seems like the standard for a lot of superhero movies today. It's very rare that we see super villains developed a whole lot because they usually are focused a lot more on the protagonist, which is a problem. Uh, the reason why I don't take away too many points for this because overall I think he was still a very enjoyable villain. You think he still was very much a real threat and is still building it up. But yeah, he's not to me. He's not as great as Zod. I think even Lex Luthor was more interesting, honestly, just because he has little quirks and had a lot more interesting things going on with him, and the way he manipulates everything was so great. But I still would rank Steppenwolf higher than Enchantress for sure because he first of all looks better and he does a lot more in the story. And as for Ares, I'd say they rank mostly about the same, although Ares may have a little leg up on him just because his motives are explained a little better. But so are Steppenwolf's really. So yeah, I'd rank them basically the same. But to me, Zod and Lex Luthor are still by far the best villains in DCU. Zod and Luthor alone to me are a lot better than a lot of superhero villains we've seen in the past few years. So there's that aspect of it, and the only other thing that's not really a complaint, but more of a, I guess, a comment, because I didn't post a video before. I was really busy at school, but this video I was discussing Danny Elfman's impact on Justice League, basically going to the fact that yes, he's taking over from Junkie XL after Zack Snyder's daughter unfortunately passed, and then Joss Whedon took over, just basically finishing up a few scenes, and I think they said they added a few. And then after that, and then out of nowhere, Junkie XL got kicked off the team, and all of a sudden they're bringing Danny Elfman. Now, that left me at a crossroads because I love Danny Elfman. I own a lot of his CDs. I own his Hellboy 2 CD. I own Batman and Batman Returns CD. He's a great composer. I love the work he did in Spider-Man. But I know he has a tendency, okay, there's two types of composers out there and they take over a franchise. There's someone like John Ottman. John Ottman, if you don't know, John Ottman and Michael Giacchino, they take over a franchise that already have pre-established themes, and they work those themes into their own scores. So like John Ottman, when he did Superman Returns, John Ottman's worked John Williams' Superman theme into the movie while still making new cues of his own, and it worked pretty well. And then Michael Giacchino did the same thing with the Planet of the Apes. He took scores from decades ago and kind of worked them into the new Planet of the Apes movies, but also doing his own thing, and it sounded fantastic. Some of my favorite movie scores are the last two, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. But Danny Elfman does not really do that, as we learned from Hellboy. Hellboy, the first one was scored by Marco Beltrami. Great freaking score. Awesome. And then came Hellboy 2 with Danny Elfman. Marco Beltrami did not come back. And Hellboy 2 pretty much abandoned the themes of the first one and made brand new themes, which they both have really great scores. I think the first one is still my preferred score, but Danny did a great score with that one. I kind of knew what we were walking into, but I would have been really annoyed if they completely erased Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman's theme in favor of the older themes, because this is already a new established universe, and to me, that's largely what they did. I mean, that's the kind of annoying. Trust me, I love Danny Elfman, but we hear Wonder Woman's theme, I'd say one time early on in the movie, and it's kind of really subtle. It's not the full balls out version, which I guess can be kind of okay because we just heard the theme a lot in her solo movie. When you hear Hans Zimmer's Superman theme once, and it was really nice to hear it, but only once, and I don't think we heard Hans Zimmer's Batman theme at all, in favor of the new Danny Elfman music. And the music was really good. I liked the Flash's theme, but the problem with me is that, Hans Zimmer surprises you with this music. He really does. Every time he does a score, it goes in a direction you didn't see coming, and it's usually pretty awesome. I mean, when I first heard the Man of Steel theme, I first walked into the theater and you hear the bum bum. It was amazing. It was amazing. But the thing is, this score, it didn't surprise me. It definitely was not bad at all. It just didn't surprise me. I would have expected just a little bit more. Yeah, so I mean, to me, I think the biggest problems with the movie were Steppenwolf having a little more to him, and the score. Although once again, the score, I'm really not trying to make it sound like I didn't like it. I did like it. I just don't think it stood out as much as Junkie XL or Hans Zimmer would have. I don't know. It sounded more like your typical superhero score instead of BVS, Man of Steel, and even Wonder Woman had really unique sounding scores that they're really memorable. Like you could just this one didn't really have that. I don't think Aquaman had a theme at all, or Cyborg. I would have to look into it again. But I'm definitely gonna see the movie again because I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's anywhere from an 8 to a 9 out of 10. But the score to a Wolf, and maybe it's really fast paced, are its biggest downfalls. But overall, though, I still think it's a very fun movie. And that's the thing about this movie. It is a fun movie. You know, this time after having lots of build up in the last ones, we're here to have fun, and I'm not opposed. I don't need every single movie I see to be super, you know, super deep movie. Although, like I said, the movie did have some very well done relationships in it, and I expect the director's got to even build up on those. But the movie was definitely aiming for more fast paced action, and it delivered on that very well. The pros on that, I liked all the acting in the movie. I thought was fantastic. Uh, Diane Lane as Martha Kent is always enjoyable. Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, they all did great jobs. Jeremy Irons did a fantastic job. J.K. Simmons was amazing. Especially Amy Adams also. I thought all of them did fantastic jobs, and all of them put the right amount of emotion into their characters to really you get a feel for who they are. And I thought that was very well done. For anybody who wants to be compared this Flash to the show Flash, I honestly haven't watched enough of that show to really make a big comparison. I was just always, in my mind, I just like this one just a little bit more, just at least aesthetics wise, way he looks, just because I don't know, I thought the one in the show looks so much like a pretty boy, I guess you could say. But I hear the show is pretty good. I just haven't watched it. I've only watched a few episodes. I watched Arrow like up until season 3, and I think I've seen a little bit of season 3 where I think I have seen Arrow and Flash cross over. So I know that he can act. He does a pretty good job with it. But I think this Flash is just as good. And Flash had some of the best scenes in the movie. And the same thing with Jason Momoa. He did an awesome job as Aquaman. I'm hoping Director Cut gives us a lot more screen time with him. And I'm really looking forward to his solo movie next year because it'll probably give us a great idea of his backstory. Which is another reason why I don't mind this movie being fast paced, because if anyone who remembers this reason why I can forgive it for being really fast paced and leaving a lot of stuff out is because it's just like the Justice League cartoon. And if you know that, the DCU, DC animated universe, anyways. And I will say this: the biggest reason why I don't find the fast pace to be that much of a problem, because first off, half these characters are already built up, namely Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And in the other half, Jason Momoa, Cyborg, The Flash are all getting their own development later on, excuse me, in the franchise. With Aquaman's movie coming out next year, I'm not too sure about Cyborg and The Flash. Oh, The Flash was said to have a movie. Not sure when it's coming out exactly, because I can't find a director apparently. And Cyborg, I'm not too sure, but I know Aquaman for sure, and we all know Flash will eventually get a movie. Whether they're going to do a solo one or a Flashpoint is yet to be seen. But my biggest reason why I don't find the fast pace that much of a big deal to me, because it felt just like the cartoon show. And if you know the history of the cartoon show, well, it kind of follows the same pattern. The cartoon show, the DC anime universe, had Batman had his own show and Superman had his own show. And in their individual shows, they kind of crossed over from time to time. Namely, the Superman the animated, excuse me, namely Superman the animated series did. Superman crossed over with Aquaman, The Flash, and Green Lantern long before Justice League was even a show, if you know your history right. And then Batman crossed over with a few others, but namely just Superman. And then came Justice League. Now, Justice League, the first episode would probably throw a lot of people off if you were expecting them to use, mainly because there was a few key differences by the time Justice League came out. By that time Justice League came out, there was a new Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, instead of I always get them mixed up, but the new one, anyways, was the black guy, African American, yeah, the Marine who became Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, instead of the one that people are normally used to. Not Hal Jordan is the. See, I always get them mixed up. The point of the matter is, it's not the same Green Lantern who premiered in the original Superman animated series. I believe it was the same Flash. Yes, yeah, still Barry Allen, I believe. And then, of course, we had the introduction of Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl, and, of course, Martian Manhunter. All those brand new characters, they came immediately together out of nowhere to fight off this alien invasion. And after a few, a little bit of sparring between each other, they ultimately decided to work together pretty quickly. And they, say the day, and then it leads into the whole show. Where, of course, each character gets their own episode to develop, and they really build relationships over time to really make you feel for them by the end of the show. So I think it's the same approach they're going for here, where even if you don't know everything about Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash right off the bat, you can still connect with them because they're fun characters, and they're going to be building up later on through further movies, whether it be standalone or, of course, for the Justice League movies. And to me, that's why I enjoyed it. It felt just like the cartoon show where they were coming together for the first time, and there was a little bit of conflict, just the right amount. Not BVS levels of conflict where they want to kill each other. And to me, it worked just fine that way. It really did. I was amazed at it, really, how well they connected together, and they really played off each other very well. So that's my biggest thing about this movie. It felt just like the cartoon show, and because I enjoyed it so well, it's nice, a lot of fun. It's not as dark as BVS, of course, but the franchise, as you know, would not keep up that level of darkness for the entire thing. If anyone thinks they would, because of a marketing decision, that's definitely not the case. It was always destined to go in this direction. And you can always see that kind of direction at the end of BVS, where Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman were kind of playing off each other while they're fighting Doomsday. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Stay tuned. I'll be doing my top 5 favorite scenes from the movie in the next video that I really enjoyed. And let me know what you thought of the movie below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Middle ground? Do you want to see director's cut, or do you think it was just the right length already? I really want to hear what you guys thought of Dan Elfman's score, because I just want to know where people stand on this. I know a lot of people are still angry Junkie XL got kicked off, and I gotta admit, like I said, I respect Danny Elfman, but Junkie XL has barely any time to do any of his own movies. I would have loved to hear his solo score for it after hearing his solo score for Mad Max Fury Road, which was pretty good. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, guys. Like I said, recapping, I would definitely say 8.5, but overall, rounding up, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. If I had to rank it in DCEU, I think it's tied with Wonder Woman for me. I'm not sure which one is better yet, but I'm not going to lie, I liked Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman more, but it's had so many fun, epic moments. I mean, overall, I think if I was being completely objective, I would put this probably below Wonder Woman. But to me, they're really on par with each other. But I think Wonder Woman does rank out on top of Justice League. But it's still really good. And like I said, I will be seeing this movie again. Who knows how many times? Maybe max 3 if I could fit it in there. But I have a busy schedule. Finals are coming up. But guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And let's get to that favorite scene video, because I'm looking forward to going over it.